Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een amma ba'du. So tonight, inshallah, as it says, my first Ramadan. And this is fasting Ramadan for the new Muslim. Meaning, the book that we're using, Minhaj al-Salikin, The Path of the Wayfarer, is summarized, short, direct, to the point. Not too many details. That's why it's titled For the New Muslim. The detailed class, with a little more detail, if a person wants a little more detail, inshallah, on Fast Ramadan will be on Mondays. Mondays after Isha. Imam Ali is going to do another class on Ramadan, but that book has a little more detail in it. So this book is straightforward and is written like this on purpose for the level, so that anybody, hopefully, if you don't have the book, it's been translated for a long time. The Path of the Wayfarer, Minhaj al-Salikin by Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Saajid, rahimahullah, the one who has the famous tafsir, the tafsir of Imam Saajid, rahimahullah. Imam Saajid, rahimahullah, was the teacher of Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. So, in my book, this section, as it says here, if you have the book, if you notice, is only from page 70 to page 76. And on page 77, it says the Book of Pilgrimage, Kitab al-Hajj. So this section, if you have the book of fasting, Kitab al-Siyam, it says Book of Fasting, but in reality, this is a chapter of this whole book. But it's called Book of Fasting, Kitab al-Siyam. So this is a chapter from the book. Almost midway through the entire book, but the chapter is called Book. So what we're going to do is, in my book I have, if we have 5 pages in English, this is broken down into 27 points. 27 points. They just made it by points in the original book. So this is not going to be a long class. It might take us maybe 3 classes to finish this chapter about fasting, meaning everything we know about, everything we're going to need to know about fasting on a basic level, we'll cover in this chapter within those 5 pages within the next 3 Fridays. It shouldn't take long, maybe 4 at the most, but either way, we'll be finished before Ramadan, because we need to learn the do's and don'ts of Ramadan before Ramadan, not once Ramadan comes in and now we're possibly we're making mistakes while we're fasting because we didn't learn about Ramadan prior to fasting. So the point is that this class on Fridays and the class on Monday night at 7 o'clock, both of them are for the same reason, so that we prepare before Ramadan comes. We don't start fasting and then we make mistakes and now we got a question, do I have to make the day up? We're trying to do, even though we may do more classes about that during Ramadan, at least we have something before Ramadan begins to go off of, inshallah. So again, the details of this book is very direct, to the point. If you want more detail, you got to come on Monday evening. Monday evening is the more detailed, the higher level book, a little more advanced. This book is for, hopefully, on the level for a new Shahada, anybody can understand the basics they need to know about fasting Ramadan. So the author, rahimahullah, and I'm going to try to use both of them so that we're clear, because sometimes the translation might be a little funny. So the author, rahimahullah, he says, Kitab al-Siyam, the Book of Fasting, which again, book here is really referring to the chapter of fasting. Tayyib. He says, number 1, al-aslu fihi. Al-aslu fihi, meaning, as it says in your book, the proof. The proof that we have to fast Ramadan, right? And the word for proof is what? Dalil. Here, it doesn't say dalil. We usually hear the word dalil. What's your dalil? What's your dalil? What's your proof? How do you know? How do we know we have to fast Ramadan? What proves to us as Muslims that we have to fast during the month of Ramadan? What do we have? If that question comes up, we should be referring to either the Quran, right? Most people are going to refer, number one, either the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Either we have a Quran, a verse from the Quran, or a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that's guiding us, for starters, John. That's not the only thing, for starters, of why we're fasting. So this first verse is in Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah in the Quran, verse 183. Why is this important? It's important because the Muslim, we should always want to know why are we doing what we're doing. Why am I fasting Ramadan? Just because all other Muslims fast Ramadan? All the Muslims do it, so I'm going to just fast Ramadan. No, we should want to know, okay, what in my book that I follow, what in the Quran, or what did the Prophet that I follow, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he say that makes me have to fast Ramadan, right? So the first thing mentioned in this whole section is the verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 183. So if you don't know, you should have a mental note at least, as they say, 183, right? Surah 2, verse 183 is the proof, the dalil, why fasting Ramadan is obligatory. Allah says in this verse, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. It says, Al-ayah. Allah says, O you who believe, fasting, and in your book it says, is prescribed for you, meaning has been made obligatory for you. Fasting has been made obligatory for you just as it was made, it says, just as it was prescribed for those before you. Kutiba alaykum. And we'll leave it just like that. Prescribed here means it was made obligatory. If something is obligatory, because this word is going to come up again, obligatory. If something is obligatory, that carries two meanings for us as Muslims. All right? Two meanings for us as Muslims. What does it mean if something is obligatory? We have to do it. Sah. All right, let me change the question. What does it equal? If I say it's obligatory for you to do this, huh? Sinning? Sunnah? Oh, sunnah. No. If it's sunnah, obligatory, sunnah, let's just change. Sunnah is recommended. Obligatory is obligatory. Obligatory is you have to do it. And if you don't do it, it's a sin not to do it. That's a sin. Not to fast Ramadan is a sin. Right? We're not talking about the exceptions. We're talking about, right, just generally. So fasting is obligatory. You have to do it. Right? Not optional. If I get to it, if I'm feeling it today, I might. No. Fasting Ramadan every day. Ramadan is obligatory to fast. Right? Not recommended to fast, if we say sunnah. Right? Number one, if so, that means if it's obligatory, if something is obligatory, that means if I don't do it, number one, it's a sin. It's a bad deed on my record, right? Number two, if I don't do it, a person deserves to be punished by Allah. Why do they deserve to be punished? They sinned. It's a sin. They did something that they weren't supposed to do. They left off an obligation. So therefore, they deserve to be punished. Allah could forgive them, but they deserve to be punished. That's what the meaning of obligatory means. So if something is obligatory, every time we hear the word, that means it has to be done, 100%. No choice. And if I feel like doing it today, I'm tired, right? Not when something is obligatory. Tayyib. He moves on, and in the book it says it has 5 numbers in the book, if you have the book. There's 5 things here, if you want to section these off. The first four, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, are connected to the person, every person. Number 5 is not connected to the person, all right? So he says again, the same word is going to come up. وَيَجِبُ صِيَامُ رَمَضَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ. Fasting Ramadan is obligatory on, it says here, the fast during the month of Ramadan is obligatory for those who are. All right, these are the 4 people. How many numbers is it? It's 5, but only 4 are connected to the people. So how do we know who must fast Ramadan? Obligatory. And if they don't, meaning if these people don't fast Ramadan, that means they didn't do an obligation. And if they didn't do an obligation, then what? They're sinning. It's a sin, and they deserve to be punished, and Allah could forgive them. But a person deserves to be punished. Tell you. Number 1, the first one, that Ramadan, fasting Ramadan is obligatory on every Muslim, which excludes who? The non-Muslims. Everybody with me? Let's back up, because we need some backdrop information before we go into that. Rewind, y'all, rewind. We're going to get to that, but we got to go back just a little bit. We talking about fasting what? The month of Ramadan. We need to know, number 1, that Ramadan is a month out of how many months? 12 months. The Muslims, we have our own calendar. We have our own Islamic calendar. If you don't know, just Google Islamic calendar, and it's going to be they're going to tell you the names of the months of the calendars. The months on the calendar, it's 12 months on the Islamic calendar. Google Islamic calendar if you want right now on your phone, and the months are going to come up. Everybody got a phone? Google it, y'all. Just Google Islamic calendar, because I want y'all to see the names of these, so that it makes sense what we're talking about, because this is going to come up again, and this is going to be connected to a couple of the issues that's going to come up, right? It's 12 months on the Islamic calendar. The Islamic calendar is not January to December. That is what they call the Gregorian calendar. We're talking about the Islamic calendar. Everybody with me? Everybody got it? Mm-hmm. Tayyib. Go down and find Ramadan. Ramadan is what number? 9. The number, so number 8, month number 8 is called Sha'ban. Sha'ban. So month number 9 on our calendar is Ramadan. Month number 10 is, what is that? Shawwal. All right? We're talking about fasting the month of Ramadan, so that we're sure. That month, that 1 month on our calendar every year, it is obligatory to fast. On who? Now we're going back to the four things that were mentioned, all right? Every Muslim, all right, which excludes the non-Muslims, which means when people who are not Muslim, non-Muslims, when they're eating during the day of Ramadan, right, do we have to walk around and tell everybody who's not fasting to stop eating? We got to walk around and chase people down in the street and you can't eat, it's Ramadan, you're supposed to be fasting, they're not Muslim, right? Number 2, in your book it says adult. How old is an adult? Huh? 14, 16, 15, 18. If you leave it like adult, right? Let's just say, in our society, how old? When is a person considered an adult? 18, right? If it's left like that, adult, like it is in the book. That's not the case Islamically, okay? Once they reach puberty. So adult here means that the child, hold up. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. It's out of order. Okay. I said Muslim, right? That was number 1. But it's number 3 in your book. Either way, it's the same, but they're out of order. Tayyib. Number 2, baligh, which means that which they have as number 2. Adult. Adult means that the child has reached the age of puberty. Every child that reached the age of puberty has to fast. Is it recommended for them to fast? Huh? No, it's not recommended. It is obligatory. Clear? Now the next issue is, if the child has not reached the age of puberty, right? The child is, let's just say, 10-year-old could reach the age of puberty. Huh? What'd you say? You said child. You didn't say male or female. I just want to use a number where we probably like, all right, cool. Let's just say the child is 6. But right now we have some maybe kind of 6-year-olds who might be physically, you look at them, they might look older than they are. But really they're 6. They haven't reached the age of puberty, right? All right. That 6-year-old, even though he or she is maybe physically big, they look mature, is it obligatory for them to fast? No. Why not? They didn't reach the age of puberty. As long as the child did not reach the age of puberty, it's not obligatory for them to fast. Meaning if they don't fast, it's not going to be a sin on them, and they don't deserve to be punished because they haven't reached the age of puberty. All right. Should we encourage those younger children to fast? Yes, we should encourage them. And what's the benefit of encouraging our younger children to fast? To get used to it. So by the time, maybe they do reach puberty early. At 11, at 12 maybe, right? What if they reach puberty at 12 years old in those summer years, when Ramadan is in the summer, right? It's going to be a long day. So therefore, we should be encouraging the young ones to fast, even if it's half the day. It's not obligatory. They fast up to such and such time, and then they eat. And try to train them to be able to, so by the time they reach the age of puberty, that at least they'll be used to fasting some part of the day. But if we wait until our children are 15 at the latest, right? The mother's Muslim, the father's Muslim, the whole house is Muslim. Everybody's fasting. But she's 14 and she didn't reach puberty yet. He's 14, he hasn't reached puberty yet, and you're not training them to fast. We think once they reach 15, it's going to be easy. It's going to be a lot more difficult at that point. They're going to find a lot more difficulty. Even though it's going to be doable, it'll be a lot harder as opposed if we would have started training them previous years before that. So the second person is the person who reached the age of puberty. There's 4 things that a person has to meet these requirements for it to be obligatory. If they don't have these 4, not that they can't fast. They can still fast. But it's not obligatory. All right? Number 3, which is number 1 in your book, it says sane, S-A-N-E. A person is sane. Sane. They have their sanity, meaning they're not, he said they're not crazy. We use crazy too loose now. Crazy means something good to us sometimes, right? So sound mind, more specifically, not focused, not able to understand, because an 8-year-old can understand. We talking about, if I say this, like, these people have been diagnosed by doctors that they have some type of disability, some type of mental illness, some type of handicapness that removes their sanity. So a person must be a person of sound mind. They have their sanity for it to be obligatory for them to fast. Clear? I don't want to say crazy because crazy sometimes is used as slang. We don't want to use words like shout out. People act like that for whatever reason. They want to act like that sometimes. And it's not necessarily a diagnosed type of situation from doctors. That's just the way that people behave. They've been raised like that, the environment they've been in, so that's how they carry on. But if you really sat them down, they're not crazy. So I don't want to say crazy. But somebody they have a real mental illness, right? They've been diagnosed with something mentally where it loses their sanity. Maybe they're on meds and they can't keep something like that. Some type of medical situation, all right? Which doesn't mean every medical situation falls into that category, y'all. But let's just keep it real simple, all right? So number 3, which is number 1 in your book, we got 3 things. It's obligatory for every Muslim, which excludes the non-Muslims. Every adult, to us as Muslims, the adult is the person. Who's the adult to us? Who reached their age of puberty, male or female. Number 3, they have their sanity, right? Number 4, which is number 4 here also. What the heck this says? Number 4 is, it says capable of fasting. Capable, qadir ala sawm. Capable. A person has the ability to fast. Well, what would make a person, why would we just say a person's not capable? A medical condition like what? Diabetes. Maybe diabetes. All right, what's the problem with a person with diabetes fasting?
Like if you're taking medication, you don't eat, your sugar could get real low, you can pass out or something.
Right. All right, people who have those sicknesses where maybe they taking medicine 3 times a day, and if they don't, like I said, it might cause them to pass out, they lose something, it affects them where it's going to be a harm to their body, right? If they're like that, then they may be described as a person who's not capable. But as long as a person is capable, let's say, for example, because sometimes we think every time I'm on meds, every time I take medication, I can't fast. That's not the case. What if I'm taking medication twice a day? Then I can take it when? In the morning before we start fasting, and in the evening when we break fast. Now, if the doctors give directions, no, it has to be taken at this time period with this man, that's a different situation. Those are the exceptions. We don't base the rules on the exceptions, John. The rule is I'm healthy. I'm not on any medications. I have to fast. I'm able to fast. Able doesn't mean when you fast, it's not going to be a difficult day of fasting. Like we say, this joint rough. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this joint, man. All right, I can't do this joint rough, man. That's not mean you're not capable. That means it was a rough day of fasting, which is part of the fast. That's part of it. That's part of the fight through the fast. So capable meaning a person has some type of medical situation that prevents them from fasting. Some people, they take medicine throughout the day. They have to eat certain times of the day. But who is that officially, that's officially diagnosed by a doctor? Sometimes people go to the doctors, and the doctor will tell them, you can't fast. The condition you're in, you can't fast. If you fast, such and such is going to happen to you. It could be dangerous, right? Those people would be considered not capable. That's not the situation. A person they meet all 4 requirements. They're Muslim, they have their sanity, they reach the age of puberty, right? And they're able to fast, meaning they don't have any health conditions preventing them from fasting. These 4 people, a person with these 4 qualities must fast Ramadan. Clear? Tayyib. Any questions so far? Anything clear? Tayyib. Number 5, that was 4, right? Number 5 is not connected to the people. It's not connected to people. Number 5 is connected to the situation. Now, go back to our calendar. Our calendar has 12 months, right? Every year during Ramadan, how do we know when Ramadan starts? Huh? The moon. Everybody's looking for the moon. Every year it's a thing about the moon. The moon. We didn't see the moon. Did you see the moon? Did they see the moon? Cool. The way we do that for Ramadan, right, at the beginning of Ramadan, in reality, realistically, we can do that every month throughout the whole year on the Islamic calendar. Go look for the moon every month, just like we do in Ramadan. Ramadan is emphasized, right, in the Muslim world because is connected to fasting Ramadan, which is a pillar. It's one of the 5 pillars, okay? So it's emphasized. But if in reality we could spot the moon every month, go out and look for the moon every month, just like we do for Ramadan, all right? Now, it's 2 ways that we know Ramadan is going to begin. We know Ramadan begins by 1 or 2 ways. Everybody with me? Either, number 1, it says, بِرُؤْيَةِ هِلَالِهِ. The hilal is the crescent. not the full moon. The full moon is always in the middle of the Islamic month. Whenever you see a full moon, that means on the Islamic calendar, it's the middle of the month. The crescent comes in the beginning of the month, and the crescent comes again at the end of the month for our calendar, okay? So anytime you're looking at the moon, if it's a full moon, you know it's the middle of a Muslim month. You might not know the Muslim month, but you be like, yo, it got to be the middle of the month on the Islamic calendar because the moon is full. Those are what we call the white days when it comes to fasting. Tell you, when it's a crescent, either it's the beginning of the month or the end of the month for every month on the Islamic calendar. Tell you, it says number 1, and if you have your book, it says or. Number 5, it says or. So how do we know it's time to fast Ramadan? It becomes obligatory for me to fast either one, upon sighting the new moon. Upon sighting the new moon. All right, which means at the end, if Ramadan is that means we're looking for the moon at the end of Sha'ban. All right. Month number 8 is called Sha'ban, right? So what we going to do in Sha'ban? At the end of Sha'ban, we know Ramadan is coming. So let's say it's 26 days went past in Sha'ban. Today, for example, today is the Sha'ban, the 25th of Sha'ban. Just like we got the 25th of July, we got the 25th of March, the 25th of April. Okay, on the Islamic calendar, it's the 25th of the month Sha'ban. So that means we know Ramadan is coming, right? Ramadan is the next month. So what are we going to do? We're going to look for the new crescent, moon. That's what we're looking for. So it's possible, and this is the next thing, it's possible we go look for the moon and we see the new moon. It's visible. You can see it. You go out there, you look. It's a way to do that. We're not going to get into that. What's the idea? You see the new crescent. Remember, every month it's going to be 2. It's a crescent in the beginning of the month, and then it's a crescent at the end of the month. And in the middle of the month, it's full. So the moon is going to be a crescent at the beginning. It's going to grow, 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 grow. It's going to be a full moon in the middle, right? And then at the end of the month, it's going to go back to a crescent again. It's going to let us know the new month is coming in. Either one or two things. Either we're going to go look for the moon and we're going to see the new crescent. But what if we don't see the new crescent? We're going to go and act like the next day is not Ramadan. Clear? Start over. How many months on the Islamic calendar? 12 months. Ramadan is which number on the Islamic calendar? Number 9. This is important now. You ready? I left this out. Every month on the Islamic calendar, is only 29 or 30 days at the most. Every month has to be at least 29 days, and every month cannot go over 30 days. No months on the Islamic calendar with 31 days. No months on the Islamic calendar with 28 days. Clear? 12 months on the Islamic calendar. Every month has 29, at least 30 days at the most. Okay? Ramadan is month number 9. That means almost at the end of month number 8. When month number 8 is almost over, we have to start looking. We're paying attention. Wait a minute. This is the end of Sha'ban. Ramadan's coming. How do we know if it's Ramadan? We get to day number. Let's just go the easy one first. Sha'ban goes 30 days. Today is the 30th of Sha'ban. For example, today, what's today, Friday? Friday, the 9th. February 9th is the 30th of Sha'ban. That means Saturday, February 10th is what? Ramadan. Tomorrow can't be the 31st of Sha'ban because there are no days with 31 days on the Muslim calendar. Everybody clear? All right, that was the easy one. Either the month goes 30 days, Sha'ban goes 30 days, so when Sha'ban goes 30 days, we know the next day is Ramadan. Let's go to the other one. What if Sha'ban is 29 days? Because a month could be 29 days. What's going to happen is people are going to go look for the moon. They might go there, and how do we know? They're going to see the new moon. Even if the month was only 29 days, if the new moon is sighted, khalas, that's it. That month is over. The next day would be Ramadan, which means, this is a new example. Say, for example, today, Friday, February 9th, is the 29th. This was the 29th of Sha'ban today. That means, it's late now, but around Maghrib, people would have went look for the moon. If they see the moon, that's the new moon. People see the new moon, that means tomorrow would be Ramadan, even though it was only 29 days. Clear? Most of us are not going to be involved in that process. Most of us are going to get the news from a local masjid. The moon was sighted, and we're going to start fasting, which is the next issue. Everybody clear? This issue of sighting the moon, whether it's 29 or 30 days, is based on that hadith, which is on page 72, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where it says, if you see the moon, فَسُومُوهُ إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ فَسُومُوهُ. If you see the moon, then fast. And your book is translated, when you see the moon, fast. When you see what moon? The new moon for Ramadan. Start fasting when you see the moon. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, وَإِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ فَأَفْتِرُوا. And if you see the moon, break the fast. If you see the moon, start fasting. Meaning if you see the moon of Ramadan, start your fast for Ramadan the next day. If you see the moon, break the fast. Remember, the last day of Ramadan. Because remember, Ramadan is going to do the same thing as the other month. Ramadan is either going to be 29 or 30 days again. And the same thing we did at the beginning of Ramadan, we're going to go out and look again. We go out at the end of Ramadan and look for the moon, break the fast. Don't fast after that. So if it's the end of Ramadan, same idea. It's the 29th, we go out there and we see the moon. That means the next day is not Ramadan, it's the next month, which is Shawwal. And the first of Shawwal is the day of the Eid. Okay? Eid al-Fitr. Everybody clear? So this hadith is the hadith that is used to say, okay, when do we fast? So the Prophet ﷺ says after that in that hadith, it says, فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ. If you go to look for the moon in the beginning of Ramadan, right? Say Ramadan hasn't started, but we're trying to we're looking for the moon. If you go to see the moon and you are unable, you can't see it. Maybe it's cloudy. Maybe it was a storm and it's just the weather, you can't see the moon. What happens if we go out there and we can't see the moon? Continue with that month, which is Sha'ban, right? Continue with the same month. All right, what that means is sometimes, we already know the easy one. You go out there, you see the moon. Tomorrow's Ramadan. We go out there, we looking for the moon. It's cloudy, you can't see it. What are we going to do? Tomorrow we going to fast? No. Or tomorrow we're going to, look again. Good, look again, which means it's the same month. In your book, right, it says, if you want to put a number next to this, when you see the moon is number 1. In another wording is number 2. Yet in another wording is number 3. It's 3 different statements of the Prophet ﷺ. And that's why we have the issue of how to do it. Should we, even though we go out there and we can't see the moon, should we fast tomorrow? Or should we just act and assume it's Ramadan? And even though we didn't see the moon? Or if we go out there and can't see the moon, should we just treat it like, no, we can't see it, it's cloudy, and tomorrow's not Ramadan? Based on those 3 statements of the Prophet ﷺ. In one statement he said, complete that month as if it's 30 days. All right? Point being, those are the 2 ways that the moon is sighted. Either, 2 ways that the month starts. Either you see the moon, clear night, we go out there, we see the moon. Okay, tomorrow's Ramadan. That was 29 days. We go out there on the 29th, we don't see the moon, khalas, it's not Ramadan tomorrow. We make that month 30 days. So say, for example, right, say that tonight is the 29th of Sha'ban. That means we're looking for the moon, right? It's clear outside, we go outside, we don't see the moon. Right? When is Ramadan? Sunday. We go out there tonight. Tonight is the 29th. We went out there, we looked for the moon. At Maghrib, we were looking, we didn't see the moon. It's clear out, nothing blocking. It's a clear night out. We go out there, we don't see the moon. Ramadan for sure is when? Sunday. Why? Because if the day is 29, tomorrow's 30, and the month can't go past 30, so Ramadan is definitely on the 1st. And sometimes people don't understand that. They say like, well, how you know it's Sunday? The month doesn't go past 30 days. If the moon is not sighted, then the month can only go one more day. And the same thing is going to happen at the end of Ramadan. Everybody's running around. Is the Eid tomorrow? Is the Eid tomorrow? Is the Eid tomorrow? The moons, they see the moon? We got to know, because if the moon is sighted, the Eid is tomorrow. If the moon is not sighted, we know, all right, we can sway you, let off the gas a little bit. We have one more day of fasting, and then the Eid for sure will be the day after that. Clear? Tayyib. The next issue, and we only have like 3 more, or 4. The next issue is, it says, وَيُصَامُ بِرُؤْيَةِ عَدْلٍ طيب لِهِلَالِهِ. Who is the person who actually saw the moon? And this is important, because the wording in the book says, fasting commences with the sighting of the new moon by a just person. A just person. Right? طيب يُصَامُ بِرُؤْيَةِ عَدْلٍ. A person that is just. Meaning. Does anybody know what that means? Just. A trustworthy person. Trustworthy according to what? According to society? Islam. According to Islam. Trustworthy according to our restrictions of what a person's trustworthy. Everybody clear? In society, in our society might consider a trustworthy person. This thing about everybody's going to fast on the person that came through that door, based on the hadith. A person comes through the door, and they say, I just saw the moon for Ramadan. We all wait and look for the moon. A person comes to that door and say, I just saw the moon for Ramadan. They're not Muslim. They're not Muslim. The person who came through and said they saw the moon for Ramadan. Do we take that? No. Not in this. We can't accept that. Not in this case. We can't accept that. A person comes through the door. They Muslim, right? But they got a bad rep. In the community, they have a bad reputation. And that's a whole detailed discussion we're not going to get into. The point even mentioning it is reputation in our deen means something. It's not you just do whatever you want to do. You could just be you and then take me how I am and all that type internet talk. Not in our deen. If your rep is bad, depending on what it is, you come through that door and you really did see the moon, based on your reputation, we don't have to accept your statement. Not that you're lying, you're not trustworthy to the Muslims based on your reputation. Not based on nobody hating on you, not based on you not from this masjid, not based on da-da-da-da. Your reputation doesn't allow the Muslims to accept your statement for a situation like this. Everybody clear? That's why it says just. Just according to the Islamic rules or description of somebody being just. Tayyib. So if one person, it doesn't have to be a group of Muslims who saw the moon. It could be one. One person saw the moon, they come and they say, I saw the moon for Ramadan. Everybody knows this person to be a trustworthy, upright Muslim. Everybody fasts according to that statement. Is that clear? That's why it says, you fast, fasting commences, it begins, the month of fasting will begin with the sighting of the new moon by just one. It doesn't say one. It says by a. It say a just person, which means one. The sentence right after that says, وَلَا يُقْبَلْ فِي بَقِيَةُ شُهُورٍ إِلَّا عَدْلًا. Now, again, Ramadan is 1 month. What about the rest of the months? How many are the months we got? 11. طيب. The next month, and this is what the sentence means. You need 2 trustworthy people for every other month. Only 1 month we accept the statement of one person for the beginning of the month, and that is Ramadan. The other months, there has to be 2 people, 2 trustworthy people, 2 just people who saw the moon for the beginning of every other new month. But for the new month of Ramadan, it only has to be 1. واضح? It's a good question. So why does it only have to be one, and in the other months it has to be two? Based on a hadith. It's a hadith. I mean, it is here. It says, on Ibn Umar, radiallahu anhuma, Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, the people, tara an-nas al-hilal, the people saw the moon. Then he says, فَأَخْبَرْتُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. He said, I told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the moon was sighted. I told him. Ibn Umar, right? Radiallahu anhu. He said, I told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَنِّي رَأَيْتُهُ. He said, I told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I saw the moon. He's the one who came and said something. There wasn't a whole group of them that came. Right? He says, فَصَامَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَأَمَرَ النَّاسِ بِالصِّيَامِ. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam fasted based on his statement, and he told everybody else to fast based on his statement, the statement of one person. The other hadith is a hadith. It says, إن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حدثوه. It says, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فإن شهد شاهدان فصوموا وأفطروا. And this is another hadith which points to the second one. We ain't get on. Either way, I don't want to go to them details. You can come on Monday. All the details will be on Monday's class. This one is real. Inshallah, I'll try to keep it real direct. But yeah, so most of us, again, are not going to be involved with the moon sighting process. Hopefully, inshallah, we can get there where we can go individually as a community or a group of brothers, go out and do our sighting together and people learn how to do it, inshallah. But yeah, the last 2 points. Next, after we know tomorrow's Ramadan, we fasting tomorrow, that means if Ramadan is tomorrow, the fast begins when? Huh? Say it again. After Fajr? Shuf. Today is, for example, today is the 30th of Sha'ban. That means for sure tomorrow is Ramadan. When does the fast begin? What you mean was the question? Yo, look, when does the fast begin? We sure we done did 30 days for Sha'ban. No doubt. Khalas. Tomorrow's Ramadan. When does the fast start? The adhan for Fajr. No, Fajr. What? All right, cool. He said, I said Fajr. Fajr Salat? Salat al-Fajr? Salat al-Fajr is prayed 20 minutes after the adhan. The adhan begins, the fast begins at the adhan of Fajr. That don't mean, brother, you can get up, you eat, and you go pray, you go to the masjid, pray Fajr. After you salam out, now you start fasting? No, you don't. Fasting begins at the adhan of Fajr, not sunrise. Sunrise, you're going to look on the news, sunrise is going to say like 7:20. No, right? That's what it says, sunrise. It's not at sunrise, it's at the adhan. The adhan of Fajr is when the fast begins. So make sure, you're paying attention to the time of the adhan. I'm not going into that. I ain't even getting into that. Right? The point being, the fast begins at the adhan of Fajr, not at the iqamah, not after you pray, not sunrise on the TV, on the news. If you look on the news or if you look on the weather app, the app or the weather on the phone, it's going to have sunrise. That's their sunrise. That's not our sunrise. Our day begins with the adhan of Fajr. So make sure we understand that, because the next point is connected to that. It says, وَيَجِبُ تَبْيِيتُ النِّيَّةِ لِلصِّيَامِ فَرْض. It says you have to, it is obligatory. It is obligatory to make your intention to fast at night. At night. Let me see how they translated this. During the night of the obligatory fast. It is obligatory to make the intention during the night. Cool. When does the day begin for the Muslim? The daytime. I don't want to confuse. Our day begins with what? La. It's the night, ya Sheikh. Maghrib is the night.
So you're saying the day? Are you saying the daytime
Oh,
or the day?
what he's saying. He's saying, when does the day begin? Or that's the question.
That's what I'm asking.
All right.
Daylight?
La hawla wala quwwata illa billah. The daytime. Cool. When does, all right, let me rephrase the question. When does the daytime begin for the Muslim? Fajr. The adhan of Fajr. The daytime for the Muslim begins at the adhan of Fajr. Our daytime begins at the adhan of Fajr. Tayyib. Before the adhan of Fajr, what is that? Night. All of that's the nighttime. All the way back. All the way back to the previous, all the way back to the previous day, to the adhan of Maghrib. So Maghrib begins our night up until, and our night begins at Maghrib, all the way up until the adhan of Fajr. Everybody cool? Clear? We Muslim. Our night starts at the adhan of Maghrib. Our night extends from the adhan of Maghrib, Salat, all the way up to the adhan of Fajr. That's considered the nighttime. All right? You have to make your intention to fast the next day within that time, at night. Meaning, you can't wake up after Fajr prayer and then say, I'm going to fast today for Ramadan. Not for the obligatory prayer. That's why it says in that sentence, it says it is obligated to make intention during the night of the obligatory fast. Ramadan is obligatory, right? Okay. So if I want to make my intention to fast Ramadan tomorrow, today is the 30th of Sha'ban. That means tomorrow's Ramadan, right? That means I have to make my intention in my heart to fast tomorrow Ramadan in my heart. I don't have to say it in the mirror. I don't have to tell people. I have to have the intention in my heart to fast Ramadan tomorrow, right? That's what I'm doing. Tomorrow I'm fasting. Sometimes we be talking, you fasting tomorrow? Yeah. All right, cool. That's not necessarily, I'm only saying this because some people think they got to like stand in the mirror and say it. Tomorrow I'm fasting Ramadan. You don't have to do that. I'm serious. Some people think you ought to do that. You don't have to do that. It has to be here in your heart that you're fasting Ramadan tomorrow. Tayyib? Cool. When do I have to make that intention? Before when? Before the adhan of Fajr. What if I don't make my niyyah before the adhan of Fajr? You didn't fast? It's not valid. Why wouldn't it be valid? All right, pay attention. I'm just using this time for example. But even though this Ramadan, inshallah, y'all, the time going to go up. Fajr going to be at like 6. I mean, it's, alhamdulillah, for a couple minutes, what I'm saying. That's cool. That's nice. All right. So let's just say the adhan is at 6. The adhan for Fajr is at 6. I'm supposed to make my niyyah when? My intention for fasting Ramadan is supposed to be made by when? 5:59 at the latest. Right? At 6 o'clock, the day started, and I didn't make my intention. Right? Cool. I made my intention at 6:01. Which means, did I fast the entire day? No. That means you missed the part of the day. That's why the intention has to be made before the adhan comes in. Before the adhan, you make the intention. It don't have to be at 5:59. You can make the adhan after Maghrib, the previous day. There's no pressure like you got to wait up to the last minute. Then I went to sleep. I woke up. I was trying to make my intention. You make the intention the night before. You got all night to make the intention. The intention is this in my heart. I'm fasting tomorrow. It's here. It's not a statement you got to say to anybody. Fuck them. Fuck them.
One is going to say, isn't that for every obligatory act of worship? Like Salat, you have to make intention before.
No doubt.
That intention throughout. No?
Yeah, but I don't want to get into that because, yeah.
The other thing I was going to say was about making intention one time.
I ain't getting into that shit. That's for Monday. You got to come Monday for that stuff, man. That's Monday. This is for, as it says, for the new Muslim, just like if somebody took Shahada right now, right? And it was time to pray, we would go take them to make wudu, right? Right? They're gonna pray with us. When we take them to make wudu? Would you read to them all the Sahih Bukhari hadith about how to make wudu? You're gonna go back there, whether it's a man or a woman, and the sisters, you're gonna tell them, all right, say Bismillah. They're gonna say it. All right, wash your hand up to the right. All right, do this, and they're gonna do it. No hadith, no ayat, right? That's what this book is like that. These books are on that level. Not that it's no dalil, but it's not the level that we talking about. This is not that level book. Even though this book that I'm reading from has the dalil in it, but that's not the intent. Father.
For a voluntary fast, we can make our intention, if we wake up, after Fajr.
Yeah.
Not after Fajr, but
That's actually the last point for the night. That's the last point for the night. The very next point, and we got to distinguish between the two. It's a difference of when I need to make my intention to fast, if the fast is voluntary or if the fast is obligatory. Right now, we're talking about obligatory. If the fast is obligatory, I want y'all to give me the window. If it's an obligatory fast, I need to make my intention between what and what? The adhan of Maghrib and the adhan of Fajr. All of that's the nighttime. I can make my intention anywhere between there. So if I prayed, I went home and fell asleep, I woke up in the middle of the night before Fajr, I can make my intention right then. I don't have to go to the masjid. I don't have to make it in front of anybody. The intention is to fast Ramadan tomorrow. That's for an obligatory fast. If it's a voluntary fast, that same rule does not apply when it's a voluntary fast. And that's the last point. As far as the nafil, فَيَجُوزُ النِّيَّةِ مِنَ النَّهَارِ. As far as a voluntary fast, for example, a person says, you know what, tomorrow is Monday and it's the sunnah to fast on Mondays. So a person says, they wake up on a Monday, is it obligatory to fast every Monday? No. So fasting on Mondays outside of Ramadan, fasting on Mondays is sunnah, voluntary. A person wakes up on a Monday, he woke up late, or let's say they got up, prayed Fajr. No, forget that. Let's just say they overslept and they woke up at 10 o'clock. No, forget that, go back. They say they prayed Fajr, that's a better one, yeah. All right, they prayed Fajr, cool, they prayed Fajr, they went home, they nodded for a minute, fell asleep. Then they woke up and they say, you know what, I'm going to fast today. Can they do that? Why? Because it's voluntary. Assuming they haven't eaten anything, they didn't drink anything, assuming they haven't done anything that would break the fast between that Fajr and the time they went to sleep and woke up. All right? Now, if they prayed Fajr, they grabbed something from Dunkin', then they went in the house and laid down, then they woke back up and said, I think I'm going to fast today. No, you already ate for that day. Khalas. Right? But if they woke up, they made wudu, the brother got in his car, went to the masjid, prayed in Jama'ah, didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything, right? Went back home, sat on the couch, fell asleep. He woke up, it was 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. And he says, from this point, he says, you know what, I'm going to fast today. He can do that. Why? Because it's voluntary, and the voluntary fast, the intention can be made during the daytime. Not like the obligatory fast. The obligatory fast, the intention needs to be made during that night period. We'll stop there, inshallah, unless there are any questions. Fadl.
That can go up to, let's say, he done all that.
Mhm.
And also come in.
Yes.
He can say, I'm just going to fast. I only got an hour left, or I'm going to Maghrib, I'm going to just go ahead and make a fast.
Yes, he said that for the voluntary fast, he said that can go all day up to like Asr. Asr right now is at 3-ish, 3:05, something like that. So all day, he didn't eat, she didn't eat anything all day. Asr comes, they say, you know what? I'm going to just fast. A voluntary fast. It is Monday, and it's sooner to fast on Thursdays too. Or he says, it is Thursday, you know what? I'm going to just fast today. And it's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Asr. It's a voluntary fast. They just fast, they can fast the rest of the day. And their reward is connected to what they fasted for that day. It's a voluntary fast. The intention can be made during the daytime. Everybody clear? You got another one? Tafadhal.
Does it have to be on Monday, Thursday?
No, don't have to be on Mondays and Thursdays. I was just using that. Could be any day of the week. Except Friday by itself, unless you're doing. I ain't getting into that. Doesn't have to be Mondays and Thursdays, y'all, but I'm just using that just in case we don't know. It's Sunnah to fast Mondays and Thursdays. So a person might want to say, I'm going to practice this Sunnah. Since it is Thursday, it's already 3 o'clock. Let me see, did I eat today? All day? I'm going to just fast. And then they make their intention from that point in the daytime to fast for the voluntary.
The person that cites the moon, is that like something that's like how would they be picked to cite the moon?
Good. He said, for a person that cites the moon, how would they be picked? I'm just using us in the situation. If that was the case, right? A masjid is going to pick the people who are, in basic terms, people who have good reputations in the masjid. Some people, they have a good reputation in the masjid. It's not like it has to be a list of people. It could be like, or it could be like this. Everybody, just to say, I'm just giving an example. 50 people could go to learn how to sight the moon. Learn how to sight the moon. But when it comes to accepting that sighting, out of those 50, maybe only 25 are just. That don't mean just because we don't consider them to be a just people, doesn't mean they can't learn how to do it. You understand what I'm saying? But when it comes time to accepting the person's statement, that's a different situation. Now we gotta look at your reputation as a Muslim in the community. That makes sense? So the difference between learning. So if our case, we just say for example, we say, listen, on this day we're going to be going out. Anybody want to sign up and go out? We're going to be learning how to sight the moon. Anybody want to sign up to go? Just because you sign up don't mean if you would have running through that door saying you saw the moon, we're going to accept what you say though.
That's something y'all do in the future.
Inshallah, we really, inshallah. Inshallah. Fadla.
Was I familiar with a narration of Prophet Sallallahu
Sorry, Salah.
Aisha, if there was anything to eat in the house?
Yes.
And she said, no, there wasn't.
Mhm.
And he said, I'm going to fast.
Yes.
Okay, I just thought it would be benefit related to the topic.
You said,
I thought it would be a benefit to share that.
oh, you ain't said it. You said I'm familiar with the narration.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bring the narration?
I mean, oh, you said, you just say that. Let me say, this is actually, all of the dalil for every issue is here. I'm just doing the metin to keep it summarized. Let me see if they have it here. Let me see, number 2. It says, you know what's good about this book too? Or in general, oh, here's the hadith. But there's more than one hadith. That's the point I was about to say. That's the famous hadith, but it's another hadith here also. But the hadith you're talking about, it says the hadith of Aisha. This is the hadith that lets us know we can fast a voluntary fast and make our intention during the daytime. It says the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha قالت دخل علي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم. She said the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he came into the room, if we could say. It could be in the room or in the house one day. فقال, so the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم asked his wife, هل عندكم شيء? Do we have anything? Do you have anything? Meaning to eat. فقلنا, she said, we said, no, there's nothing to eat. قال فإني إذن صائم. If that's the case, if there's nothing to eat, then I'm a fast. There's nothing to eat. If it was something to eat, then I would eat. But since there's nothing to eat, then I'm a fast. If it was obligatory to make the fast to make the niyyah ahead of time, there's no way, because there's different ways to break the fast. There's no way he would be able to say that and continue to fast an obligatory fast. So that hadith is one of the proofs that they use to show that it's allowed for a voluntary fast to make the intention in the middle of the day. Is that clear? That hadith clear? It's another hadith connected to the point about making your niyyah at night, that the intention has to be made at night. This hadith is the hadith of Hafsa radiallahu anha عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, that the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, من لم يبيت الصيام قبل الفجر فلا صيام له. He said, the Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith, أخرجه أحمد وأبو داود والترمذي والنسائي وابن ماجه والدارمي والدارقطني والبيهقي. Those are all the books where you can find the hadith. That Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith that whoever does not make their intention at night before Fajr, then there is no fasting for that person. فَلَا صِيَامْ لَهُ. They have no fast for them, whoever doesn't make their intention at night. So the ulama, they combine between the two hadiths. One hadith, the Prophet ﷺ came and he asked, is there anything to eat? No. So I'm fasting. Well, that's a voluntary fast. The other one, he said, whoever doesn't make their intention at night before Fajr, then they don't have any fast. So that's for the obligatory fast. Wallahu a'lam. Any other questions? If not, we'll stop there because now we're going into a whole separate situation. Further.
You said Monday is class, right?
Monday, yes.
So is it going into the conditions of sighting the moon?
Inshallah. What do you mean the conditions of sight in the moon?
Like I said, I don't know how it's done. Like I know it's I would assume it's conditions. You just can't. Like, I don't know. Like how is it? Everybody can see the moon, but
Oh, the process. That process is more. It's more hands-on. I can describe it to you right now, but if you don't see it, you don't really know what you're looking for. You bet somebody, all right, this is what we're looking for. I can't do that doing this. You know what I'm saying? You got we had to go out in the field. But there's more issues connected to sight in the moon that we're not going to get into. Somebody calls them like the local site and the international site and stuff like that. Khalas, that's enough though. As far as this book is concerned, then the author left it like that intentionally. Inshallah. Any other questions? Further.
Which is on the middle of the month, full moon, you call those the white days.
Yes.
What's the significance of that in the month of Ramadan?
In the month of Ramadan? The significance, well, it's sunnah to fast on those days, based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Every other month. In Ramadan, fast in Ramadan is what's called wajib. I think it's mudayyiq, if I'm not mistaken. It's a restricted time of obligation, meaning in Ramadan, we don't have any time during the month of Ramadan to fast any voluntary fast. It's only time to fast obligatory fast in Ramadan. So in Ramadan, we're going to be fasting on the white days anyway. But our fast on the white days are going to be obligatory, which is higher than a voluntary fast anyway. Mondays and Thursdays is recommended to fast, but we Ramadan, so we're going to be fasting in an obligatory fast on Mondays and Thursdays anyway. So in Ramadan, there's no time in Ramadan for voluntary fast. There's only time for the obligatory fast. But outside of Ramadan, it's from the Sunnah to fast Mondays, Thursdays, the white days, based on the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, outside of Ramadan. Inshallah. Khalas. Khalas. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.